this really quickly. Okay, they want us back inside by 1:15, and I have to stand in line to get back in. I have to drop in, turn in my electronics, so that's going to take me a few minutes. So I want to get this out really quickly. I ran out here to try to give you all an update. Some people are not even coming outside because they said if we get out here and get stuck and don't make it back in before 1:15, we're not going to be allowed in. Okay, so let's talk about it. Now, as you know, they're doing the closing arguments today for the prosecution. So the prosecution showed the jurors 27 headshots of men hired for trafficking or for escapades, okay, for the freak-offs and hotel nights by Diddy. Now, the images shown in 9 rows of 3 serve to remind the panel that Diddy allegedly hired workers to perform with the girlfriends, and he sat there and watched from a short distance away, okay, videotaping the acts. We already know all of that. Now, it was kind of boring for me because the lady was talking in a monotone voice as she was making her points, and all of these things are things that we've already heard a myriad of times. But again, this is the closing argument, so they're giving a summary of things that they've already said and showing things that we may have already seen. But what was interesting was that when they showed the headshots of all these men who were the workers, they all looked like a bunch of thugs, okay? Then they had pictures of all the men that were the workers, plus the people that worked for Diddy, like the assistants and all of them, the bodyguards and all of them, Fahim Muhammad included, and had all of their pictures spread out on the screen. I mean, they all looked like they were in a lineup, okay, like just straight up criminals. I'm not even joking, okay? Please pay attention how this all getting real nefarious, honey. They're pulling out all the stops. Now, she did give a very compelling argument, I will say that much thus far, but she's gonna continue after we come back from the lunch break. So, and I want you all to pay attention. I'm not even eating. I'm coming out here to give you all the news. Okay, so then they talked about how Diddy love-bombed Jane Doe early on after meeting him. Okay, charming her with overwhelming affection before introducing her to the concept of these nefarious hotel nights where he wanted her to have sex with at least 3 to 4 men sometimes. Now, at first, she was okay with it because she thought it was just a fantasy, but then it got to the point that it was so much for her, and even specifically when she didn't take all of the illegal substances, that she literally vomited, okay? And even when she did that, they said Diddy wouldn't let her stop. He said, you get back out there, okay? You're not gonna ruin this night for me, okay? You get out there and you do what you gotta do. Get out there and suck some D. This is what they said, don't get mad at me. But anyway, so then goes on to say that Slavic then accused Diddy of grooming Jane and giving her rugs as she learned what Diddy liked actually to keep him happy. Now, Jane agreed to one of his fantasies. That's, like I said, she was okay with it at first because she thought it was a one-time thing, that she's just going to get in there and do it, and that's going to be the end of it. So she agreed to the one of his fantasies when she was high and arranged for a hotel night with an worker. Now, they go on to say that Jane became resistant as time went on and wanted these nights to drop or to stop. She wanted to drop the whole thing and just stop it. But Diddy plied her with illegal substances and then manipulated her into continuing. Now, Slavic told the jury that he even used paying her rent as a way to control her. And also, here's the thing. She was saying stuff like, oh, he lied to her, okay? He tricked her. He manipulated her. He told her he was going to give her things that he knew he wasn't going to give her, just to make her go along with it. And then when she'd go along with it, she wouldn't get anything that he promised. He constantly held things over her head. And then they brought up that night when him and her got into a fight also. So the prosecution showed a flurry of text messages reminding jurors that Diddy allegedly threatened Jane with sex videos that she didn't want to see online. Okay, he was threatening to show them to the father of her child and also to put them online. Now, she panicked, okay, and then she sent text messages to Diddy, to Diddy's chief of staff, Courtroom, okay, about the music mogul allegedly telling her those tapes would be or could be leaked. Courtroom then instructed Jane to give Diddy some space and said she talked to him in the hopes of keeping her boss from doing anything rash. But, you know, Diddy does what he wants to do. So then she went on to talk about how Diddy frequently arranged transportation for Jane, okay, to travel across state lines and engage in sex with men. Now, this is Slavic who's doing the closing arguments, mind you. So he had Jane flown to had her flown to New York, California, Miami, Las Vegas, and Turks and Caicos, according to the prosecution. Now, at the same time, Cabral, which was one of the guys, the S-workers from Atlanta, one that she had said in her testimony previously weeks ago that she was more familiar with, and she actually had a rapport with him. Okay, so he was a frequently used S-worker. He was also being transported across state lines for their hotel nights. This is what Slavic told the jury. And she's turned facing directly at the jury. She's got her little podium right there. She's got all her little notes and everything. She's not looking at us. She's looking directly at the jury to drive home her points. Okay, I'm telling you, these people are not playing games. I cannot wait to see how the defense is going to counter all of this. So when she reached her 2-hour mark of the government's allotted 4 hours of closing arguments, that's when, they basically decided to give us a break. Now, they say, now I didn't notice this because the courtroom is literally jam-packed. It is so crowded today. People were fighting to try to get in. I told you, they tried to hate on me and my friend and say, oh, y'all weren't here. Well, we weren't here, but we did pay for a line sitter, so let us move on through. Okay, but with that all being said, the court is so packed that they were saying basically how Diddy was looking. Well, I couldn't see how he was looking because I could see him when he first came in, but once everything got started, I couldn't see any of his mannerisms, any of the, the looks on his faces or any of that. But here's what they say. Hold on, let me go through my notes real quick. Hold on, let me get to that part. And everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. They basically said Diddy was a whole criminal mastermind. Okay, that's what they called him. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, here we go.
How you doing, Mom?
Hey, come on, get in here and shout yourself out in your channel.
I appreciate it. Conversations with Jay, K-H-A-N, Versations, V-E-R-S-T-I-O-N-S. My name is Jay Khan. That's where we got Conversations with Jay. So, hey, check us out. I want to have you on our channel on a panel or something because you have such beautiful views. And we were out yesterday for dinner, and we had like a real conversation that I think only her and I could have in the room. So that kind of made it special to me. So definitely, I would love to have that.
Absolutely, beloved. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. I'll see you later.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so now listen, you guys. So hey, beloved, Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic urged the members of the jury to use common sense. Okay, they said to use common sense as the government began their final arguments that Diddy allegedly used his business empire as a criminal enterprise. Okay, Slavic said Combs used assistance, didn't blink an eye, and did whatever it took to make himself happy, okay, during their employ. And also, even if it meant facilitating crimes. Now, though they didn't all sit down together in a circle and decide that they're gonna act like the Corleone family, like Diddy was the godfather, they're saying that they all sat there and engaged in the criminal acts because Diddy had them doing these things, okay? Queen out there networking. Yes, absolutely. There was a bunch of us that went out for dinner last night, and we had a great time. Okay, so now with that all being said, Combs faces 5 criminal counts. Well, we already know about all that. Hold on, let me skip past all that. So anyway, after about 2 hours and 20 minutes into her closing arguments, that's when we took a break for lunch. And listen, Diddy is wearing like a powder blue sweater today with his khakis. His mom is there. His friend, one of his good friends is there. I can't remember the guy's name. It's like Chuchulo or something like that. I forget. But the girls are there. Okay. All of his kids are there except for King. I don't think King is here. I didn't see him. But I did see the twins. They look beautiful with their cornrows. They're dressed alike. And then also Chance is here. And then I saw Justin and Quincy. I didn't see King. But anyway, everybody's there. It is a packed house. It is so full. And at the end of the day, this is just getting started. They have about 2 more hours, I believe. And they're not going to do the defense's closing arguments today. They're going to start that tomorrow. Now, they say that, well, they talked about how Diddy also beat up Jane Doe. Okay, the prosecution turned its attention to an alleged June 8th of 2024 incident, the beating of Jane Doe that she suffered at Diddy's hands. The date is significant because it came after federal agents raided Combs' home or his properties, and he knew that he was under investigation. That's when he started recording Jane Doe. And remember, she was talking to him, and she's saying things to him about how her feelings and the things that she's going through with him resonate with the same things that Cassie said in her lawsuit. And he's telling her, are you recording me? You trying to be slick? I can't be talking about this. I told you. All the stuff I'm going through, I don't have time for this. But he knew he was recording her. He knew darn well she likely wasn't recording him. Okay, so he was gaslighting her and projecting. Now, he beat up Jane in the home on that day, telling her, you're not going to ruin my night. Remember that part? That's what the whole thing was about. Okay, so a male S worker was called to the home where he and Jane allegedly had sex for Diddy's own enjoyment, pleasure, and entertainment. And so she basically started resisting these ideas, like I said, because she was getting tired of the fact that he was having her do these things and then continuously holding things over her head, specifically her rent, if she didn't want to do it. And then telling her that he's going to release footage and all these things or whatever, making a bunch of threats. They said that all lends credence to the threats, fraud, and coercion. They say that if you believe these things, then that makes him guilty. Now, I want you all to pay attention because they're going through these counts one by one. Count one, and then they break down, like the kidnapping of Capricorn Clark. They also say that he kidnapped Cassie when Cassie was at that hotel and he wouldn't allow her to leave after he beat her behind. And then she had to go get security, call the security, and they told her to call the police, which she didn't want to do. They said that's kidnapping also. And they said if you believe this, then you have to find him guilty on that count. And then that's when they started talking about the S trafficking. If you believe that he did this, hired these S workers to fly out and then got Cassie and Jane Doe specifically to fly out to other places, then you have to find them guilty of that. They are landed on the line. When I got on the elevator to come out here, there was a lady who actually said, and she's a reporter, she said she did not believe that they had a RICO conviction coming until today. That's how compelling this argument is, because they're bringing back all these things at once and just putting it all out there. Here's what I will say before I run. I can't really say how good exactly this closing argument is until tomorrow when I hear how the defense counters it. I think it was absolutely brilliant of the defense to say that they're not going to go right after the prosecution today because they don't want to tire everybody out. Because I'm already tired, okay? I was dozing because I already heard this stuff all before, okay? With that all being said, I think it was a good strategy for them to say they're going to come tomorrow. So maybe we'll leave court early today. I don't know. But I will be back out here to give you guys the rest of the information. So stay tuned. Like this video. Share this video. I love you all to life. And I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.